Well, good morning. This is Knox County Commissioners, May 29th, 2025. We have our HR department head here, Courtney. Appreciate you being here. And so we're ready for your report.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
So within the last month, highlight a couple of the great things that we've done. We started a quarterly HR partnership meeting. So that was asking department heads and elected officials to send someone who works in their department with payroll, doing onboarding, helping employees understand policy. So asking those key contacts to come so we could, one, get to know each other a little bit better, but also brainstorm ideas that hopefully will make the work that they do and that we do a little easier, more efficient. So sometimes I have a great idea that a form will change everything, right? But I think it's important that we talk to the people who will be using that form about whether is that really going to be effective for you? Is it easy to use? Things like that, instead of rolling it out and saying, please use this. So it's a great opportunity to go over a couple of ideas, get some feedback from them, and then make the implementation effort, which hopefully, eases that rollout of those kinds of things because they're known quantities and we've already talked about them.
Has that been well attended?
Yes, we had a very big group the first time around, and they played along when I did my get to know you game at the beginning. So I appreciated that. We did have some fun while also getting quite a bit of work done. So looking forward to the next one, and maybe a little less structured and more idea sharing, or if someone's having a particular issue in their department and they want to brainstorm with other folks who are doing the same kind of work in their department about what have you done in this situation or how would you handle it, then let's talk about it in those settings. So hopefully that those will be well attended in the future. So it was a good start. Good start.
Okay.
Pam and Andrea both attended the Opportunity Knox Job Fair on May the 6th, out on Coshocton Avenue, and they said that it was very well attended. They really enjoyed the new setup. It was one large tent that all the employers could be under, so really appreciate them doing that for us instead of the individual tents. We sourced several resumes and sent those out to different departments where the interest was expressed. So happy to be able to attend that and talk about the jobs that we have available here at Knox County. On that same day, coincidentally, I attended Labor Arbitration Institute in Cleveland. This was a full day training about labor relations, and there were 4 arbitrators in attendance who they would give case scenarios, and then they would vote on how they would rule in those arbitrations if they were the one overseeing them. It was very interesting, and for someone who likes that kind of thing, it was a very geeky day for me. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But really interesting to hear the perspectives of the arbitrators on different grievances and how they would rule on those things. Great things to keep in mind for the future when we're talking about folks about contract language and things like that. And then just recently, the chamber hosted Sedgwick because MCO open enrollment is currently going on. And it was just a really good opportunity to talk with the Sedgwick representative, also get to know some local employers, got to meet the new HR director for the city. So it's just always good for us to have that community presence, but have the ongoing training opportunity. So our thanks to the chamber for putting that on. It was really, really great information. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so I wanted to highlight that Pam arranged for our EAP, that's Employee Assistance Program, to put on a webinar, Managing Worry and Anxiety, just to help reinforce our commitment to the holistic wellness of our employees. And then a reminder that behavioral healthcare partners will have their mobile clinic on site here on Monday, June 2nd, in the parking lot next to the Public Defender's Building. And so our employees are welcome to utilize those services as well as the public. So if the public are needing to stop by, then they can do that as well.
So they can stop by, they don't have to do a RSVP.
They do not, no reservation or appointment needed. Just stop in. And if you're needing something more than they can give you right in that moment, then they will help you get up with or get set up with ongoing services. If it's just information that you need, a quick, drop in to see what kind of services they can offer to you, then you can drop in and get that information as well. So we're happy to have them. We're going to host them each month. So workplace safety. Andrea Sellers, our safety coordinator, along with the EMA staff, did a walkthrough of the service center and met with individual departments or groups of us, for those of us who are smaller departments, to talk about our emergency operations plans as well as continuity of operations plans. JT asked a lot of great questions, gave a lot of food for thought on things that we can be working on. So I'm excited to see what his report out is like. And I know they're working on a template for us to do continuity of operations. So that will be extremely helpful. We can just plug in our data and then everyone will have a similar template across the county. So I want to thank JT and Amy at EMA for taking the time to do that. I know that there are offices in the building that are already instituting some updates and some changes, and so that's really good to see. Just all part of ongoing risk management efforts for the county. We continue to actively recruit for talent. So if there are folks out there, we encourage them to please go to the county's website and click on the toggle for employment opportunities, and that will show all of our vacancies that are available here at Knox County. We conducted 10 interviews over the last month, specifically transit drivers. We assisted Board of Elections in their interviews for a technology specialist and IT's network administrator. So we are hoping to hone in on final candidates for both of those positions very soon. We onboarded 9 employees since the last time I saw you, and offboarded 12. So those numbers are a little bit ticked up from the year before, just a year-over-year comparison. And then currently we're monitoring 20 FMLA cases throughout the county. And I just want to take a minute to say that while this data and these things summarize our key activities, there are visible aspects of human resources. And I would say that I don't have a percentage, but much of what we do is not visible and not reportable necessarily for confidentiality reasons. And those aspects of the workload, I felt it was important to just talk about a little bit. As with all the departments here, we're here to serve our people. Our people are our employees, our citizens, the community at large, and we're doing that work behind the scenes, and it usually has very deep implications for our employees in the county. That terrain is complex. Think about the legal, ethical, and also the emotional aspects of those things. We are normally the first call when something goes wrong, right? And we are often the last stop if something's coming to an end. And all of those conversations and moments are heavy and they're not infrequent. We're dealing with complex medical accommodations, assisting with investigations, facilitating conversations where we're asking employees to seek success in another venue. And that's not only difficult for them, but it's difficult for their families. This isn't a complaint. I love what I do. I'm so proud of the team that's up there, and I appreciate your trust in me and us in doing this work. It's just more of a reflection, I think, on the essential and sensitive and consequential work that we do that we don't talk about every month in this report.
And Courtney, I'll say that, Courtney and I talk about these issues a lot, and she came to me this week and said, how do this is like the fun HR stuff is what I bring that to me. But how do we, and I said, well, don't sugarcoat it. You can't go into details without us going into executive session about some of these issues, but you can highlight to let them know maybe some of the other things that are not pleasant, but we coordinate with Clemens Nelson and the prosecutor's office and the departments, and it's a difficult thing because they're there to support the employee and management, and so they have to navigate that because sometimes it's a difficult, you got a foot on both sides of the fence, so to speak, and you got to figure out how to take care of both sides. So I told her, I said, well, just bring it up in general terms and let them know what the things you're dealing with, because we've had some difficult things recently.
We have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. Thank you for that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Talk about the warts, don't name the warts, right? We all have them. We work with people, we work with the community. As I say, it's not a complaint. It's just to shine a bit of a light on the things that aren't forward facing in what we do, but it takes up a lot of our time, and we want to do that work with empathy and legally, and making sure that we're thinking about compliance and risk management, but also honoring every human that's coming through here, where they are and what they're doing. So thank you for trusting us to do that. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, or if you have some feedback on things that we could be doing better. I'd appreciate that as well.
Courtney, I have one question. Kyle was asking me, and I know I asked you to be involved in the Board of Elections hiring of their election technology specialists, which the commissioners have agreed to fund for them, and so we wanted to have you involved. Are they gonna loop in county IT at any point in that process to maybe let them vet the candidates from a technology standpoint?
They're gonna schedule second round interviews, so I can reach out to them and remind them of
I
that
think it would be
important
wise to
addition.
have Kyle or Trevor sit in just as a technical expert on that.
Especially if that's part of the job duty.
Right, and I think, because Kyle's question was, as we kind of laid out that position, how is it going to, what is IT gonna do, county IT, and what is their technology specialist gonna do? And so I think maybe to have those conversations now and during the interview process, and make sure those candidates have the requisite skill set, I think it'd probably be good for them to, they don't need to have necessarily a final say in who's hiring. I mean, that's Jim and his team's decision, but it'd be nice to have an expert in the room.
Sounds good. Yes, I can absolutely reach out to Jim and make sure that that connection is made with he and Kyle.
So with 911 and sheriffs and deputies, when you're in a stressful situation, they have avenues to be able to talk about, share about, decompress. Do you guys have that?
We don't have anything as specific as or tailored as, but what they're doing, those critical incidents, the trauma, I'm glad that they have the components in place that understand that the work that they're doing as first responders, and we certainly have the EAP, the Employee Assistance Program. We have one another, but as complaints go up, they don't go down, right? So Andrea and Pam can come to me, and we can work on things that maybe they're the complex issues that they're working with folks, and I go to Jason, right? And we have a good tight knit group. We have great support systems outside of work, which is helpful, but I mean, I think admittedly, department heads, it doesn't matter what department we're in, we're an island, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the nature of the work that we do and the responsibility that we have. And that's okay. It's okay, right? But there are hard moments. And so I appreciate you asking that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you are, when people talk about HR, they just think administrative stuff. And, you know, as you expressed, well, that it's more than that. Because it is, people's lives
Yes.
that, sometimes are not where they want them to be. And, you know, you, assist them to, and put them in the direction that they need to be. And hopefully they are, willing, recipients of the wisdom that your office is able to provide.
Hope so.
Yes.
So thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you so much. Great job.
it. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, have a great weekend.
you as well. Thank you so much.
All right, Commissioners, we have just a few items of business today. We have approved the agreement between the Knox County Sheriff's Office, the FOP. For, this is for the cooks at the Sheriff's Office, and some language was added to this that Clemens Nelson had requested.
Did we take longevity out of that?
It is not. But the language in place of, or that Clemens Nelson wanted in there because of that was inserted. So this bargaining unit, I think, is 2 or 3 employees, so it's a small unit, but this is ready for you to prove it if you would so desire.
And that's with all the editorial
Correct.
things that
Yeah.
That's what the editor Bill Purcell.
the editor Bill Purcell looked at it and corrected misspellings and there was one still that I think was, I had it down on my notepad that I would want them to look at, because I think on one item, B and C were 2 separate lines, but it looked like someone separated them. They should have been the same line, but that's near there. But yeah, if you are ready to,
A motion to approve.
Second.
then those in favor say aye. Aye.
And that'll require all 3 of your signatures. Then we have a utility permit for Licking Rural Electric on North Liberty Road in Monroe Township.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Then we have an amendment to the contract between the Knox County Department of Job and Family Services and Opportunity Knox Employment Center for the NESCO Resource Payroll Services, and this is just related to that, the youth coach stuff, I believe, but again, I'm here, so.
Yes, second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 We have contract agreement between Job and Family Services and GG Larson for a highway job summary youth position.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
All right.
And then we have an agreement, addendum number 2 of the sub-grant between the state of Ohio Department of Job and Youth Services and the Knox County Department of Job and Family Services, and this is just pass through funding that goes to children and families first.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
All right.
Is there?
Yeah, there you go. That was all 3 of you, so that's
Sorry.
No other update for you today, Commissioner.
Okay. Brenda, have any updates?
Just attended the convention yesterday for Toth and Olivia Toth, and we just continue to work on the America 250 celebration.
Any updates on that though? What's the updates that you were?
Well, we'll wait. Maybe she'll come and share with us. I don't want to give away all the fun because it's still a year away. But yeah, there's going to be some fun things around Paul Land and about Hollywood and celebration of the area of life. So be fun.
Yeah.
I am gonna start working on something, that was brought to my attention a couple times now, for the area, the schools in the area, juniors and seniors. I want to start a program where once a year we get those students together, maybe at the memorial building, and talk about county government, how it operates, what commissioners do, what elected officials do. Because as they get older, I can tell you during the campaign, so many people didn't have an idea of what the commissioners actually did. I think if we start educating them younger, let them know that they can be involved in government and parties, and let them know the structure and how it works and what commissioners and the other elected officials actually do. It'll only pave a better course as we go forward with these young adults. So I'm gonna start working on that. I know it's probably gonna take some time and some effort to get all these teachers and principals and superintendents to get on board. But if we start this year and do juniors and seniors, next year we'll only have to do juniors, because then it'll just be juniors after that, because we'll have already planned. So I'm gonna look for help with the
Right.
commissioner here.
So should we call you professor from here on?
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Professor
I just
Lester,
think,
and
I think going forward, it will help the community as far as the voting standards go, and how they can vote and what they're actually voting for on some of these elected officials, and maybe get them looking ahead in the future.
So you're gonna require the parents also be there too, since they don't have a clue.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
like I say, it shocked me, I guess, and I've been thinking about a lot during the campaign that they didn't know that we couldn't pass law, and, you know, we couldn't do anything about homeless, and so I think just educationally for our future would be good.
Good.
How to run for office, what you need
Yeah.
to do, all those things. I agree. I agree. I mean, I don't know what level grade our Ohio history happens at. But it seems like our Ohio government,
Maybe a freshman.
Freshman year, I
yeah,
think.
Ohio government, Ohio history, all that needs a little bit beefed up to me.
Well, like I said, they talk about government, but in school, they focus more on state and federal, not so much local, and I think that's where we lose a little bit of our traction.
Big future speaking gigs for you that you can be prepared for in May.
Yeah.
Barry and I were at an EMA meeting on Tuesday to start putting some together plan design for. It's almost like the comprehensive plan. It was a 5-year program that's being written up for us. And then yesterday I was at Family Child and First Council, listening to that report, learning what all was involved on that. Tonight I'll go to Pike Township and see if they want to talk about sidewalks in Amity. Of course, you know, you got to be able to have an avenue to get to the store and Amity to be able to do that. Those things are, and we have one person here. Did you have anything you wanted to share with the Board of Commissioners, or are you just waiting till after the meeting to talk?
Well, I can share a couple of things relating to what you were just talking
So
about.
if you'll
My name
stand
is
up.
Kathleen Tate or Kathy Tate, and I'm just being down nosy coming to the meetings. I love it. Anyway, I love your idea.
Thank you.
We have been wanting to do something like that as well. I think it should be open to the public.
It is open to.
I mean, not just juniors and seniors. I mean, we have found that so many people do not know anything about government.
No.
And we have also the Constitution. And we have been wanting to find somebody that would actually set up a public forum for talking about the Constitution. We're going to be handing out copies of the Constitution at First Friday, but as far as the Democratic Party is concerned.
So just so everybody knows, Kathy is the director, is that?
And the chair of the.
Chair-
Democratic
chairman of the
Party here in
director.
Knox. Yes.
So, yeah, no, this isn't a one-sided event I'm talking about. Everybody, every party,
No, that's the main thing, well. My shtick, and it may not be Democratic, it may not be Republican, but I want informed voters.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing, and, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys for a favor. When we have our nonpartisan candidates 2 years ago, when I ran for school board, what I did was I sent out a questionnaire to all 103 on my own, my personal dime. This had nothing to do with the party. On my personal dime, I sent out a questionnaire to all of the nonpartisan candidates running and asking them about their background, education, what kind of work they do, what they hope to accomplish, why they were running. And actually, I got a 30% response. However, most of those were Democrats. Some Republicans that I knew that I was actually getting into their faces and saying, hey, listen, we really need to have this information. There is no way in this state of Ohio for people to find out information about all of the candidates. And it's really very depressing. So anyway,
I think a lot of the parties
yeah,
have taken it upon themselves to do the vetting of these candidates.
well.
And quite honestly, I don't think that's going real well.
Well, it's not enough. Because I found that there were some people, well, I'm running for this office, I've been in this office for a long time, and people already know me.
Right.
Bull. I'm sorry, that's not right. Because people are moving in and out of the area, they need to be able to know too. As a matter of fact, when I first came back to Ohio 8, 9 years ago, and I saw some nonpartisan candidates and I couldn't find any information. And I'm a researcher when it comes to computers. I actually went and knocked on their doors, the candidates' doors, and said, who are you? Why are you running? Because I want to know. And
How was the reception?
Pardon?
Was the reception okay?
Well,
When
actually,
you knocked on the door?
out of the 3 people that I knocked on their doors, one of them was going to a wedding and said she'd get back to me. Another one, I left a note on the door and didn't get a response. The third one, I talked to the wife.
Yeah.
Within an hour, he called me. So that's what you have to do. You have to talk to the wives.
Yeah.
But, or the spouses, you get responses.
Yeah.
But yes, that is something, it's really important to have informed voters.
Well, like I say, I'm really excited about doing this and it will take a joint effort. I mean,
Exactly.
by all parties, your part, to orchestrate this thing. And touching on what you said, it's all about informed voters. And I think we need to start that at an earlier age than a later age. And it can be open to the public so that people who don't understand can attend. And I think it would be good to have all the elected officials on stage, introduce themselves, tell them what they do. And you know, just basic structure of elected county government. And then maybe the city will join in and do something on their behalf at a later date, but we'll start with our responsibility.
And the townships as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to share? Otherwise, I'll take a motion for adjournment
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
and we stand adjourned. Thank you.
thank you very much. Good to see you, Kathy.
I'll talk to you later too.